Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Clare, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today's episode is a title that just came to mind to really kind of encapsulate this period of time where I'm talking about productivity. And it's what's in the way of easy productivity and what to do about it. And as you can imagine with me, there'll be not much to do, which I hope you're grateful for, really, because it can seem like there's a lot to do, can't it, in order for us to be productive. And that can be all-encompassing, I found, for quite a period of time. So if you'll know, if you've heard a bit of my story before, that trying to be more productive was a big part of my journey in terms of self-fixing, self-development, trying to make myself be better in in many ways. And it took hours of my life, really, to try and deal with that, to be more productive, to try and make myself be more, just do more, really, not be more, do more, definitely, over many, many years. And it started even before the burnout that I experienced in 2015. Even before that, there was definitely always this nagging voice in my head that I wasn't doing enough. And that voice, interestingly, was very loud when I was a parent of 2 children under 2, and, a full-time, there were maybe 2 children under 3, actually, by the time I was back full-time. A full-time primary school teacher with leadership responsibilities and everything else I had going on, and somehow thought that I wasn't doing enough. The fact that I had so many balls in the air and so many plates spinning. And it's really interesting, actually, that yesterday I went to see the Barbie movie. Now, you may be thinking, what? Where's she going with this? But in terms of how women in particular, but I'm sure society in general have just got all these things that we think we're supposed to be and do and have, and and there was a brilliant speech by the not Barbie. Well, Barbie made some fabulous speech, but really the brilliant speech was by the mother in the story. I won't tell you anymore. It's a spoiler alert, but it was just something very moving about it, and very moving about the whole concept that the society we've bought into, that really isn't healthy for us as women, and probably not so healthy for the men either. Anyway, so back to productivity and how to have easy productivity. What's in the way of it, first of all, and then what to do about it. But there won't be much to do. Hurrah! So what's in the way is thinking, okay, we're done. 4 minutes, fantastic. let's all go have a cup of tea now. It really is that. It really is that. Now, of course, there's a realization there that our thinking creates our feelings, and it's often the feeling, isn't it? I don't feel. Who hasn't said I don't feel like doing that? I say about bookkeeping all the time. At the moment, I'm doing a big piece of study. I'm on an actual course studying coaching and mentoring, actually, in a completely different way to how I have done in the past. So it's really interesting. And I've got an assignment to do, and I do have a voice that's quite loud saying, oh, don't feel like it. You're not in the right state of mind now. Don't do the assessment. oh, don't get cracking with your assignment. And then yesterday morning, I just woke up and thought, you know what, I'm going to open my laptop and I'm going to start this thing. I made quite a lot of progress, actually. Funny, isn't it? When you just get started, things tend to fall into place. So even before what's in the way of easy productivity, then if I'm saying there's something in the way, then what I am saying as well is that easy productivity is your birthright, is your natural state, is something that is true about you, really. And you know, again, I'm always going to be pointing to the little people, I think, in this unit, is because in this exploration at the moment, is because little children are just productive, aren't they? You know, until they're not, until they're like chilling and relaxing, but they're mostly. And yeah, I'm just coming to mind that how many children I see now with a little screen in front of their face that I just think, wow, are we taking away that productivity energy, or we're covering it up earlier because there's some joy being found in, or some momentary happiness being found in something that's on a screen that isn't moving about and doing things? Because people, of course, once your child's moving about and doing things, you've got to manage their behaviour, you've got to keep them safe, and it takes a lot more energy, doesn't it, for us as adults? Anyway, that's another story. But if you go into a room full of 2 to 4-year-olds who have access to things to do and make and create, you know, there's paint and there's paper and there's bricks and there's sand and there's Play-Doh and there's clay, maybe there's, you know, everything. There's and there's always like the junk modelling area. I'm just describing a nursery setting in the UK now, to be fair. And then there's, you know, there's a place to do like collages and things. You let those children loose in there and they will not stop producing things, creating things. They will just be like little machines making more and more and more things. And that's showing me, that's pointing me, and I hope it's pointing you to see that being creative, being productive, producing things is your natural state. And that when you just follow that, when you follow that productive urge that comes from your access to innate well-being, your access to innate wisdom, then you will naturally produce. Like what I'm really noticing about my time on Insight Timer now is that it's developing its own like organic flow. So, you know, each new month's theme, so this month's theme has been productivity, which came out of last month's theme, which was reaching your potential, and there are courses for both of those. But you know, when we were talking about reaching potential, people started to talk about procrastinating and not being productive, etc. And then, you know, I've noticed that on this unit on productivity, there's been all the way through my time on Insight Time, and there's been on the lives, there's been a little bit of an inclination towards what other people are doing, about how other people are making us feel, and then we're not tending to be so productive or whatever, or the people holding us back, or, you know, all of that stuff. So that's really interesting that's going to be the theme for next month. So it's really fun to see how it's developing its own energy, and I'm just the one kind of facilitating that, because obviously I'm turning up at the computer, I'm making the recordings, I'm, you know, creating the courses, and I'm about to create the next one about relationships, ready for August. So that it's just got its own organic like flavor to it, you know. It's just moving all the time, and it's forming. And just like if you know, literally, if you leave those little children in that space for a day, there would just be stuff everywhere that they've created, and it will have this organic nature to it. And so really that's your natural state. Your natural state is to be productive, to create things. It's meant to be that way. Now, what's in the way is, like I said at the beginning, what's in the way is your conditioned thinking. So at some point you created something and somebody said it's not good enough, or what is that anyway, and didn't put it on the fridge with a magnet. And so you started to withdraw and not want to be creative. Now that's just one little story that I've just made up, but it probably is a story for a lot of us. Or somebody talked about the mess that you made when you were being productive and they didn't like that, so that couldn't happen anymore. So all through life, we've picked up all these bits of information. Now they're not kind of, oh, I was talking to somebody the other day, and then they're not kind of trapped inside you. Just in the moment, those are the things that come to mind that then stop us from creating what we might want, from producing what we might want to produce, from putting out into the world what we might want to put out into the world. And that's all really. It's not more complicated than that. It's not locked inside you. You don't have to go back into the past and deal with it. You don't have to do anything. So there's not much to do really. But there is a piece around awareness. And you've got a perfect system that's going to help you to be aware when you are caught up in that thinking. And the first thing is that it will probably feel off. You might feel anxious about doing something. You might just feel a bit low mood about it. You might feel stuck and like, oh, I can't. Or you're just doing something else. You may be procrastinating. You may be just avoiding. There's all sorts of things. For me, it often comes out as avoiding. I don't notice a big feeling, but I notice I'm not doing something. And as we bring some awareness to that, just like I've been doing with this assignment I've got to do, is just starting to notice there's a little voice in my head saying, oh, it's too hard this. You haven't done an essay for blah, how many years? I don't know how many years, too many years to think about. Oh, it's too hard, it's going to take you hours and hours, and it's going to be really nitpicky, and, and becoming aware of that and going, that's not true. Then I can open my laptop and just take the first step. Because that's really where easy productivity comes to life, is we take the next step. Just take the next step, that's all. So there really isn't much to do about it, but to become increasingly aware that your feelings and your behaviour are a reflection of your thinking. And when you think, when something feels icky because you're thinking icky thoughts about it, not because it is icky, then you tend to, your behaviour then tends to reflect that, doesn't it? You tend to just not do things that really you probably in your heart would love to do. So just take the next step. It's just about that awareness. It's just about noticing, hey, hang on, I am avoiding this. And there's freedom on the other side of doing the thing as well, which I've talked about before and probably will talk about again. Once you do the thing that feels uncomfortable, a little bit of that old thinking sort of falls away, really. And there's a different you on the other side. So I hope you found that helpful. I hope you have a lovely day, as productive as you want it to be. You might be lying on a beach somewhere. You might not want to be productive at all, but that's fine too. Take care and have a fab day. Lots of love.
Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Clare Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.